Hi Drew, my name is Kevin Vaughn and I'm from the Chicago area. I'm a PADI Master Instructor, number 182312, and also a business member, 23432. In addition to my PADI credentials, I also hold an HSA instructor credential and a DAN O2 provider instructor. First of all, I want to take a moment to thank you and the entire PADI team for supporting, recognizing my instructional efforts here in Chicago, empowering me with the PADI educational facility status back in 2012. The whole progress of getting to that point has not been an easy or short road to our level of success that it took 10 years to attain. Now, it may come as a surprise to you that unlike other dive shops and training institutions, our focus has not been on achieving a financially rewarding career or a dive facility. Our very unique scuba instructional efforts have come about through an epiphany that I believe is worth sharing with PADI at the highest levels if you haven't already heard about it. Although we're a nonprofit company, it has the ability to have some revenue in it in the right situation with the right quantity. The bottom line is, from our aspect, that today's youth are our future leaders and our future guardians of the oceans and your future consumers. However, unless kids are steered into the sport of scuba diving, they're not likely to find it on their own because of all the alternative activities that are out there. And many of the local intramural sports are what attract most of the kids in the area. Now, my business model was attained from my past PADI Con Ed experience at a local dive center and seeing firsthand the maturing and developmental effects of simple dive training on youth from the ages 13 to 18 years old. But then further tying in the curriculum in school that kids are struggling with to PADI lessons made me realize how much experiential learning youth can absorb through having fun. And so our enhanced PADI-based programs fulfill a really deep academic void, which teaches kids while they're actually learning and having fun, and it ties these interests back to schools and the things they're learning in school unknowingly. The program we offer has had a huge interest over the first 7 years of our existence in 2004. However, the last 3 years, when I've attempted to sell the program to community leaders, it's been more disappointing than ever before. More of the long-standing perceptions of risk are resulting in a large number of declines to my offer. Regardless of whether the program I offer is low cost, no cost, 1 week, or 9 months long, targeting at-risk youth. We've actually experienced so many declines in recent years that our board of directors is actually considering the dissolution of our company by the end of this month, because we just can't afford to sit on our assets that aren't being used and eat the annual operational costs. Now, our 10-year history of our company is Scuba Training At-Risk Students, Inc., otherwise known as STARS International. We've negotiated working relationships with multiple school districts, park districts, law enforcement agencies, and youth/social agencies like the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA. These groups we asked to collaborate with us on a 9-month-long mentoring program, is how it's dubbed, using scuba training as the vehicle or the bridge to these kids to connect with them. The negotiated contract between us, the kids, and the organization offers them advanced scuba training in return for improved grades, improved behavior, 100% attendance in school, and also a new desire to go on to college after graduation. We really try to connect the kids to local colleges, especially those that actually have some marine research programs going on, like the University of the U.S. Virgin Islands. STARS uses an array of customized PADI courses, which include open water, advanced open water, navigation, night diving, sea science, underwater communications, which is a distinctive specialty, search and recovery, EFR, O2 provider, and finally rescue diver over the course of 6 months, spanning from March until October. Included in our overall PADI course or courses, we include 36 hours of fitness training, 36 hours of self-development training, and 36 hours of pool training before our open water activities. and those include 50 open water dives, which span basically June 1st through October. The goal is to take our youth clients so deeply into the sport of scuba diving, they never look back and say, hey, that was a really cool summer. What about lacrosse next year? After the months of training, the end result is that we have extremely different and more mature kids that have found an interest in so many new avenues that they suddenly see a lot of the topics in school that have been boring to them, such as PE, math, science, and social studies, as a positive. They see the connection to their new interest in diving. Our classroom sessions interleave all these topics into the PADI training to make learning fun and make them suddenly the neatest kid in science class. So they learned about Boyle's Law in class last week and actually dove and did an experiment in the water during an open water dive. Now, the highlight of our whole program is a 1-week trip we take with the kids to somewhere outside the U.S., such as Curacao, U.S. Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos, where we actually do the checkout dives while incorporating into the trip some history studies, social studies, meeting local kids, environmental cleanup, and environmental learning opportunities. Now, although the process works extremely well and the results and changes in these kids no one can debate, our downfall has been America's failing school systems that are now more focused on graduating kids ill-prepared for the real world and getting their state funding than actually teaching these kids the skills they need to survive to be adults. You've heard that term, no kid gets left behind. What that actually means, what I've learned, is no kid gets held back behind his peers and doesn't graduate on time, regardless of their failure to meet the expectations of that grade. It's a crime to what's going on. I mean, I've actually witnessed manipulation of student grades and student attendance just to make them meet the standards and be able to graduate on time. So the conflict is the schools don't like the press that I bring along with my program when we actually begin to develop these kids, and the sudden highlight on what the school's doing for these bottom kids, bottom feeders as they call them. And since I have no stake in getting state funding, that's not the reason I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the betterment of these kids that are going to end up being a detriment to society when they come out if they're ill-prepared to become an adult. Okay, but the bottom line, this is not the reason I sent you this YouTube video. This tells you a little bit about me. What I'm going to do is just take 5 minutes to have you maybe think out of the box, or maybe you've already been up this road, and give you an idea I had that I hope could ignite the interest in the sport of scuba diving beyond our wildest dreams. From my vantage point, the volume of the scuba clients in the Chicago area is not growing. At least without any significance. For every adult that I or another shop trains in the Chicago area, we're blindly losing an equivalent adult or two from the sport due to reasons of finances, age, physical capability, availability to water, or even interest. The net result is that everyone from dive shops to manufacturers is hurting because we just can't make the sport grow and then have the subsequent add-ons of equipment and training and travel. Now, PADI is obviously encouraging more divers to go pro. I hear it, I see it, I did it, okay? But honestly, the market is currently super saturated with dive pros that cannot make a decent wage or even find a paying job. Honestly, I've been deterring folks from going up that route recently and becoming a dive pro like me, because I can't say that over the last 13 years that I've made my money back from it, although that wasn't my thing about becoming an instructor. My thing was to focus on kids. I've done that, and I honestly haven't made a dime in the past 10 years doing all that. I've done it for the betterment of the kids, and all the money that comes in goes to the kids' programs. So where am I leading you to? PADI's got the finances. I know that they have the credibility and they have the reach to penetrate barriers and plant seeds no one else can. My proposal is that PADI could or would invest in a series of national television advertisements targeting kids like never before to experience diving. PADI Scuba could compete with youth soccer, baseball, lacrosse, and football if it was positioned out there and got their attention. get incorporate, extremely vivid and exciting commercial messages, like some of your videos. They're really catchers, and that's what we need to draw these kids in. Now, granted, it may benefit the other dive companies and agencies that are out there, but if you coin it as PADI Scuba, that should steer people towards PADI agencies or PADI shops. Now, of course, you want to put these commercials on in the family viewing time, so it attracts the kids and their parents, and maybe to the frequency of Geico or Progressive Insurance, who are really hitting the television market several times every hour. You have to have seen it out in California. Now then, maybe do it for a month or two, whatever you yield the investment to be, and then look back and gauge the number of hits you've had on the PADI website on folks trying to find a dive center, and even pick your big dive centers and say, hey, what have you yielded from this PADI advertisement? It's a risk, I know, but it's something I don't think you've ever done before on a national scale to try to drive the sport of scuba. And it might drive SSI or SDI or others to actually do the same thing. But it's something that dive centers and I can't do. I can't afford television advertising. I can't even afford media coverage now because I have no programs running. Now, if the advertising campaign works, and I feel it will, it'll drive everything from the training demand, equipment demand, insurance demand, and honest to goodness then, dive pro demand. Youth, again, are our future guardians of the sea. They're the future of this sport. It's the only place this sport, I feel, can grow. New youth divers will collaterally generate adult divers, their parents, their friends, and other people that want to follow their activity. Yeah, it's a gamble, but where I'm sitting, it screams me it's the only answer to make it work and make it work quickly, and I think it'll pay off. Now, Drew, I'd love to talk to you more about this and STARS, because we're struggling to attract any schools, any agencies, any individuals to help us out and get our program back on track. It pains me to be sitting on all the assets I've amassed over the last 10 years in a beautiful vehicle to transport equipment anywhere in the 5-state area of Chicago, but I just can't seem to get the interest, and it may end up that I turn all my equipment over and STARS goes away, but I'm going to give it the last 30 days of June to see if I can pull something together, and I hope this works for you. I hope it yields some interest on your end, and thank you for listening, Drew. Take care. Bye-bye.